born on a Saturday as well, but you didn't know that, did you?
No, I didn't.
Aries, you're an Aries.
Yes, I am.
And you dreamt you were married to Alan Titchmarsh.
I did.
Yes, thank you very much. Take a seat, go.
I've made a living out of giving the impression that I have paranormal abilities, but I don't. In my work, I use a mixture of magic, suggestion, psychology, misdirection, and showmanship. But there are people who do claim to have paranormal abilities. As a magician, I love this promise of a mystery I can't explain. I'm also aware of how easily we can fool ourselves. So while I'm approaching this series ready to be convinced, I am aware that big claims need big evidence. And few claims come as large as those of the Bronikoff method, a psychic program that has its eyes set on world domination. This is footage of students of the method. It purports to show people who are seemingly able to see, even though blindfolded. Some critics say it's fakery, but practitioners say they've developed extraordinary psychic powers, including the ability to see without using their eyes.
Level 3 is extremely valuable for people who have no eyesight.
The founder of the method is a charismatic Ukrainian, Vyacheslav Bronikoff, who believes that his method will create a new Superman and everyone can benefit. Amongst their most intriguing claims is that they can teach the blind to see, even those without eyes.
Rostov-na-Donu, it's a city in Russia. There is a boy, and he was born without his eyeballs. Nobody told him he was blind, and he can see better than you. Think about it.
We can make blind people see who haven't got any eyes.
I'm in Holland, where the Bronikoff method is making its first foray into Western Europe. For me to test the system, I need the help of a blind person. So with me is British woman Judy Dunk. She's chair of St John's Guild, a charity for the blind elderly, and has been blind herself since 1995, as she told me when we met in London shortly before our trip to Holland.
It did take them nearly 6 months to discover what it was, because it is quite rare. And then she sort of said, right, you'll go blind by the time you're 40. And that horrified me. But blind doesn't mean black, which is what I thought it did at that time.
You can be registered blind, but it doesn't mean that you can't see anything. Yeah.
Only 3% of blind people can't see anything at all.
Judy has limited sight, and from time to time she uses a wheelchair for a back condition. She demonstrates the level of her sight for me by writing what she can see of a word that I've written, held up for her by her carer, Margaret. It's not rude.
There. Now, I don't know what you've written. What's the word?
Envelope.
Oh, envelope. There you go. That says envelope.
Yeah. So that's tricky,
now,
isn't
if
it?
you actually transfer that to everything that I look at,
Yes.
then you've got some idea of how I see things.
This is the baseline from which any improvement in Judy's sight must be measured. Although she shares my scepticism, Judy is intrigued by the claims made for the Bronikoff method.
That was it. Well, there is one phrase on their website, that actually states, we can make blind people see who haven't got any eyes. We'll give it a go and we'll see. So, Derren, what do we know about this man, Mr. Bronikoff?
Not a huge amount. He's a very elusive character. He has a real legend around. Slightly kind of Rasputin-esque, I think. Yeah. Our first stop is this former church near Amsterdam. It is to be the first Bronikoff school for the blind where partially sighted people will be taught to see. The school will be run by a blind couple, Jan and Tina Visser. Tina claims to have already benefited from the method. What is your aim for having the Bronikoff Centre here?
Well, for the centre, of course, the awareness, I think, is very important. And it's a big adventure to see how far you can go. Well, let's go for try and see some things. I already saw colors.
What's your experience of it, Jan?
The same like Tina with the colors, with colored paper, I told you. I saw it just in front of me, and also with some shapes.
You're talking about actual physical vision when you're saying you're seeing colours?
Yeah, there were colors around me. I was in it. It was completely around me. Whoa!
Fantastic.
And it was very emotional.
I can imagine, that's absolutely amazing. It sounded wonderful. I was aware of Charles Bonnet syndrome, where blind people can convincingly hallucinate, but was this something else? I was intrigued.
What would you, at a very personal level, hope to gain from using the Bronikoff method?
Well, everybody's expecting me to say, I guess, I want to see. But this longing is not so strong in me because I'm so used to who I am and how I live. But of course, it's so interesting, and that's a weak word, exciting to explore.
Right.
So yes, I hope to make progresses, of course.
Tina and Jan are keen to show me what it is to be blind.
You trust me? Yeah, I trust you. Okay, come on.
They've designed a kind of everyday obstacle course in which sighted people are plunged into darkness and taught how the other senses come into play.
I can hear the birds. It just sort of smells and it all seems very nice.
It was extraordinary. I could tell, for example, the shape and size of my environment just through sound.
Do you hear the difference?
Yeah.
And I was guided through different soundscapes from parks to busy roads.
Very good. Yes. Good. Very good. Yeah, very good.
It's amazing to notice how much you are noticing without noticing that you're noticing. You know, is it just to be aware of what you can pick up that you just simply don't bother paying attention to. But also just an insight into your world. I know that's sort of obvious, but there's a big difference between sitting down with somebody who's blind
Yes.
and then suddenly feeling very close to you in there and kind of feeling like we're both sort of sharing this, and it's a very different thing. Now I wanted to know if the Bronikoff method's claim of training the blind to see will be fulfilled for Judy when we attend their 4-day course. I've come to Europe to investigate the Bronikoff method, a psychic system which claims to help the blind to see. Judy Dunk, a blind lady from Coventry, and I are in Aalst in Belgium, where we've signed up for a 4-day course in the method. We will take part in the beginner's course, level 1. Although we're here to test the Bronikoff method's claim to create a world without blindness, this psychic system actually sells itself as a method of human development, offering uses in wider medicine, finance, even architecture. In fact, on the courses I'll be attending, only a tiny percentage of people are actually blind. According to the Bronikoff's proponents, over 300,000 people worldwide have taken the course, and it's not cheap, starting at nearly €700 for level 1. The course is being taught by Vladimir Bronikoff, the son of the founder and the man featured in the publicity material. But these could just be simple tricks, and there have been accusations that they're achieved just by looking down the side of the blindfold, or even through small holes in it. Certainly, many conjurers perform far more impressive blindfold stunts. Vladimir has been shown having difficulty replicating these feats when the possibility of cheating is removed. One of the leading figures in the movement is Peter Kamp, a Dutch technology expert who had tried to explain to us how the system works, using a Hollywood-style analogy.
And let's make a short step to the film The Matrix. In The Matrix,
I like The Matrix, yeah.
it's a nice movie, isn't it? It's really a cool movie, and we like it a lot. Because it explains what we do.
Okay.
It explains what it is. Only they do it a little bit slightly different than we do.
So we've got a material world. So when we look outside, I see your body, I see yours, I see a cameraman, I see this board. This is in the material world. Yeah? When we dream, we are in a non-material world. And there's a world in between, which is reality, we call it. When Nano was a computer nerd in the Matrix, he was in this world. Then he took a pill and he moved to this world. And there he's trained in all kinds of things like martial arts, and he used it when he came back in this world. We don't shift bodies, but we only shift consciousness. So when we put on our blindfolds, our masks, we move to this space, be trained here, and we turn it off again, and we are back here. That's what the Matrix is.
You stay in Wonderland.
The movie's dystopian vision of a future world in which the protagonists shuffle painfully between different levels of reality reflects much of what the followers of the method believe they are able to achieve using only their minds.
Remember, all I'm offering is the truth, nothing more.
From this rather eccentric start, things got stranger as Peter went on to explain that the method has 18 levels, only 3 of which have been worked out. Level 1 teaches students how to generate the energy necessary to apply the Bronnikov method.
If I'm looking now, my brain gets the energy because light is coming through my eyes. But as soon as I close my eyes, where's the energy coming from? Urogenital system.
The urogenital system.
So by doing the level 1 exercise, we improve this part. And as soon as I close my eyes, this generator starts to work. It gives energy to my brain. If I don't develop that, it will destroy you.
The brain would be drawing energy from the urogenital system that isn't there and would physically damage the body as well.
That's correct.
So
that's why the main thing within our method is safety rules.
So much for level 1. Level 2 teaches students how to use their psychic powers and magnetic energy fields to bypass their eyes and generate a blank screen in their mind. This they call the psycho-biocomputer. And in level 3, students learn how to see the real world on that blank screen, even if they're blind.
And level 3 is extremely valuable for people who have no eyesight. Because then your brain will see the outside world directly.
But back on the course, things didn't seem to be working out so well.
Any sensation there?
No, nothing changes.
Level 1 is designed to teach us how to generate the energy needed to use the method. We learn how to create balls of energy with our hands, a familiar exercise I've come across before. We rub our hands together and are told to feel the resultant odd sensation in the hands as an energy ball, and one that can then be transferred to and held by another person.
I must have really dead hands.
Why don't you try it with? You
try it
with Judy, because at least we know that half of it will be.
Sorry, it really doesn't feel any different.
Doesn't matter. What we do, we will move on. So I will go up your hands and we'll take the ball.
So I will tell you if I feel it.
It's okay, it's okay.
Okay.
Of course, it's one thing to imagine you have an energy, another for it to be real enough to pass on to someone else. So I'm not surprised that we didn't have much success. Now we learned how to use our urogenital areas to generate the energy that would eventually make it possible for us to create a blank screen in our mind, which the Bronnikovs call a psycho-biocomputer. While Judy and Margaret are only taking the level 1 course, I was allowed to observe the advanced level 3. This is the zenith of the method, where we hope to see X-ray vision being developed as the students learn to control the objective outer vision that will help them to see through their blindfolds. Blind or sighted, the course offers this extraordinary possibility to all. Knowing what the mind can achieve, I want to look at the evidence and see if this course lives up to its amazing claims. Vladimir communicates with his multilingual audience through translators. Now, I watched the level 3 students performing a key technique known as a splash, releasing the urogenital energy in a seemingly powerful instant.
The splash is raising the energy from your urogenital system. Bring it up. So first you close your eyes. And you make a cloth over here. You bring it up. And when you have enough pressure in your head, you throw it out very fast. So you open up your eyes very fast. Then the energy comes out.
This is how you prepare the body energetically as a safety. I see. Okay.
And you can feel energy coming out. Vladimir was testing in front of people's eyes if there really was a hit.
Oh, that's what he was doing. He was testing.
You feel a hit.
I see.
And as soon as you have done a level 2 or level 3 exercise, if you put on your mask, you have started your cycle by computer and you turn it off, then you end with the splash to come back in this reality in a normal way. And your brain are in a normal state again.
On this first day, I saw no signs of alternative vision. Instead, they worked on remembering large quantities of information in a flash. It was intriguing, but even with this, no one seemed to have any clear success. Our first day of the Bronnikov method had felt endless to me, so I wondered what Judy and Margaret had made of it.
I don't quite understand what we're supposed to be feeling or what these sort of fields of energy are supposed to be about.
He talks about imagining a ball of energy, feeling a ball of energy, and you can sort of do that to an extent in your head, but then that only goes so far. Then you sort of feel you have to kind of play along a little bit after that, because there's a pressure. If somebody's saying, say yes when you feel this energy reach your elbow, and they're standing there waving their arms around, you just feel after a while you've got to say yes just to...
Well, that's right. You know, to please them in a sense.
To please them,
yeah,
that's right.
Yeah. Some of it was what I would call a bit off the wall.
Yeah.
Definitely a bit off the wall. But let's see what today brings. Maybe there will be things that begin to make sense of yesterday.
Yeah.
And what the day held in store was something quite special. Vladimir had agreed to give Judy a diagnosis. Using his skills of alternative vision, he would look inside Judy's body and diagnose her condition. He claims to be able to see right inside her and describe exactly where the problems lie. This I was looking forward to. It could provide actual tangible evidence of those X-ray skills. We were joined by a translator.
Есть means that he turned on his psycho-computer.
Сначала можно посмотреть смещение позвонков. Шейный отдел 3-4 влево, 7-й первый грудной назад. И в поясничном отделе 4 немножко влево, и копчик смещен по часовой стрелочке. Чуть по часовой стрелочке, чуть смещен миллиметров.
Can I ask what he means by thoracic spine?
Потом можно будет просто посмотреть. Грудной отдел находится между шейным и поясничным.
Okay.
Can I ask if we can direct attention to around the eyes?
Да. В целом по кровообращению в эту зону вообще сильно снижен приток крови. Начинается это еще в лобной доле. Там венозный застой. Сами глаза, активного очага нет никакого, то есть, как это объяснить? Активного очага нет.
Themselves, there is no
они очень
active zone, active center, let's say.
Вялые.
they are very vexed.
Ткань на дне, она деформированная. Есть рубцы. Функция зрительного нерва местами очень снижена до 10-20%. Ну, по голове пока вот так.
With the head. This is the situation.
So you just had your diagnostics.
I did.
What did you make of it?
Very interesting.
Okay.
Some of it was self-explanatory. He's seen me in a wheelchair. I wear dark glasses. He didn't, as far as the eyes went, he didn't actually give us any firm indication that he knew exactly what was wrong with them at all.
Yeah.
This specific diagnosis gave us a chance to form a verdict on Vladimir's abilities. We could get hold of a chart of Judy's spine and compare it with Vladimir's description. Was he really seeing her spine or not? We arranged to have an X-ray sent to us. The Bronikovs had agreed that we could film the whole course, but later in the day they'd suddenly changed their minds.
So it's all been going quite well, but the Bronikovs have now said that we can't film the course for a couple of days, which is because they want to keep their techniques to themselves. They're worried that somebody might copy them, so, which is fair enough. So I'll be attending with Judy, but we won't be filming. But we can film at the end and catch up then, so we get back in.
Although taken aback by the Bronikovs' refusal to let us film, I continued to attend the classes. And when my crew is finally allowed back in, we get to see the founder of the method at work. I'm in Belgium, participating in a course on the Bronikov method, a system which makes many extraordinary claims, including helping the blind to see. Although the crew has temporarily been banned from filming, I've continued attending the course with Margaret and Judy from the UK.
Yes, how long was the course? It was 4, 5, about
Yeah,
five,
it's-
five,
you're
about
talking
5
for-
hours.
yeah.
4 or 5 hours.
You're talking a long time.
Of watching them just... And we weren't allowed to film yesterday, so we should explain. They're just showing you how to move energy around a person.
Yeah.
But hours and hours of just instructions as to how to move your hands. But clearly people are confused as well. It's not just us.
There are
you can see
questions
people,
coming
yeah.
that people are.
But they're trying to
There was
believe.
one exercise, and we all had to line up against one wall, and 6 people lined up against the opposite wall, and we were supposed to find the boundaries of the energy field from the 6 lining up. And it was quite clear that 2 or 3 people who were standing next to me were very confused about what this energy field was until Mr. Bronikov actually came up and said, he sort of did this and, oh, that's it. And they sort of beamed and went, oh yes, of course, that's it, and walked up and put their hands and stood where he'd stood.
There was another fun moment when they put their blindfolds on and practiced walking around the room, but using their X-ray vision that they're developing to not bump into things, which of course they were, walking into walls and chairs. So that was all going on. While that was going on, one of the guide dogs did his business in the middle of the room on the floor. So they were comedy.
I watched that. Yes, I saw that.
It was frustrating that we couldn't film it. I think there were some comedy moments there. There's poodles for you.
I was still intrigued by Vladimir's diagnosis of Judy's spinal problems. We'd spoken to Judy's doctors and got hold of a chart of her actual condition. We compared what Vladimir had described with what Judy's actual spine looks like. Disappointingly, the 2 pictures looked quite different. Apart from one very common exception, which would be obvious to anybody with basic knowledge of the human spine, Vladimir's specific descriptions of which vertebrae were misaligned were all wrong. And he missed the fact that the top part has been replaced by calf's bone. While Judy, Margaret and I were attending classes, my film crew were able to film another of Vladimir's sessions. This time he was giving his prognosis to 16-year-old Tom Bruin and his parents. Tom has cerebral palsy, for which there's no known cure.
Тем более, что есть потенциал.
In principe, u heeft potentieel.
Есть перспектива нормально, постепенно восстанавливаться.
Je hebt perspectief om te herstellen.
Другое дело, что общая функция организма на минеральном уровне, клеточном, организменном, интеллектуальном, общественном составляет 55%. А норма, 100% в идеале.
Norm ideaal, het is 100%.
Нижняя граница нормы для взрослого человека 80%.
Beneden de grens van norm is 70%.
А у него 55. Для его возраста это очень ослабленное состояние.
Dus voor zijn leeftijd, het is een hele verzwakte conditie.
Состояние на данный момент, да, ослаблено. Есть зоны наиболее ослаблены, позвоночник, головной мозг, конечности. Сейчас медицина давно знает, что почти все проблемы у человека появляются отсюда. Я тоже.
Hij speelt ook voetbal.
Мы можем необходимо не сомневаться, а идти к этой цели.
Je mag niet.
I wanted to know how they regard the Brodnikov method back in the former Soviet Union, so I contacted Sviatoslav Medvedev, the director of the St. Petersburg Institute of the Human Brain, who has investigated the Brodnikov's work. Hello, Professor Medvedev?
Yes?
Hello, this is Derren Brown, and I'm interested to find out a scientific opinion of the Brodnikov method. So, are you aware in Russia and in the Ukraine of many people that seem to have success with the Brodnikov method?
No. I saw many blind people who were really blind, and after working with Brodnikov, they didn't see anything. So, and Brodnikov is not very popular in Russia or in Ukraine.
He's not?
It's not popular, no. Moreover, when I try to make experiments, something happens.
Sorry,
every time something happens. So every time they said, "Oh no, just now I cannot do it," and so on.
Right.
But of course he is a very good publication, and so he can speak that. Oh, it's something absolutely unusual. No, it's not nothing unusual.
One last question: are you aware of even one person, one Brodnikov student, who was blind and has been able to see, has learned how to see?
No.
That evening, while I was on the phone to Russia, a very special visitor turned up at the centre. The founder of the method himself, Vyacheslav Brodnikov.
Wonderful.
A meeting takes place to discuss the expansion of the Brodnikov method into Europe and the USA. Attending the meeting are the key figures who will spearhead that expansion.
Сейчас будет мощнейшая поддержка в развертке предопрограммы. Ведется сейчас работа, что, возможно, Россия выйдет с предложением в ООН. Значит, в Коста-Рике формируется от ООН Институт жизни. Сейчас планируется создание еще художественного фильма, где планируется показать будущего человека. То есть открываются совершенно новые возможности в развитии и в создании у человека совершенно новых свойств и качеств. Хотелось бы объединить эти силы в одну программу «Мир без слепоты».
So last night was the level 1, and it was the third day, and it's just starting to feel a bit humiliating, because if you're not buying into it, then it just feels ludicrous. There is no evidence, no one is offering any evidence or proof that any of this works at all. It's purely somebody talking. Judy's not feeling any benefit from it at all, but they're really throwing themselves into it. If I was doing it, if I was doing this as a course, I'd at least try and think, I've got to prove that I can do it first. I'd come up with some sort of trick or something.
This is my first chance to see Bronnikov Sr. at work.
Это лапа дракона.
A former architect and filmmaker, legend has it he was taught the method by a Tibetan monk who appeared in his dreams when he was just 3 years old.
Baan tussen oog naar die punt die achter is.
He started training Vladimir 20 years ago.
Heel klein.
Neither have any medical qualifications. Here, father and son are apparently strengthening Tina's optic nerve by working with the web of energy that surrounds Tina and spreads across the room. For other people on the course, it's still about attaining the elusive X-ray vision. Here we see one of them, Tony, using his psychobiocomputer to identify a chair and its color.
Пусть проявится.
Zwarte rand blauw.
Ja, blauw.
Yes! Oh, great, good jongen, good.
This advanced exercise was of particular interest. Tony used his psychobiocomputer to look through the lid of a box and see what's inside. It sounds impressive, but the reality is less so. There are only 2 or 3 boxes used, and the students know what's in them, so they have a good chance of getting it right. Also, they sometimes use the splash technique and have a quick look at the contents first. At no point do they progress past this. And this is the highest level taught. I'm astonished that no one's questioning how meaningless all of this is. But to get to this level, students have forked out at least 2,000 euros, so I figure they're determined to get the most out of it. And if tone is anything to go by, it seems they keep on coming back for more.
Doing level 2 for 2 times, 3 for 2 times. I've repeated, but you realize that it takes time, and every time you do it, there's so much more information. But you realize that where you're standing, where the potential is, and where you have to go. So you are very motivated to say, Jesus, I want to do it every day, 1 hour, 2 hours, because this is the way.
The Bronnikovs maintain that this system can only be successful if practiced religiously by the students once the course is over. So unless Tom's mum continues to do this correctly, she will be unable to help her son reach what they regard as his full potential. Then Bronnikov turned his attentions to Tom himself.
Берешь анатомический атлас и по нему работай со своими ногами, расширяешь. Старается не говорить про агрессию. Ребенок рождается, ему делают позвоночник укол, чтобы он не кричал, не орал. Значит, дети, множество детей у вас якобы сидят на таблетках, чтобы не проявлять агрессию. Агрессия создает грубые энергии, грубые. Мы как бы машину включаем, ключ в машину.
Machine wordt aangedaan. Die begint te werken.
Завести надо.
У меня тоже хороший есть пример.
Toen ik heel boos was,
Когда я был очень злой,
toen stond ik op en toen kon ik een paar stappen.
Он вполне может встать, ходить, функционировать. А в дальнейшем мы дадим ему еще различные техники, когда он изнутри будет себя восстанавливать.
Но я не хочу, чтобы вы меня так злили.
Ну, тогда будешь сидеть так вот.
Да, он будет blijven zitten.
Пару лет упорно позаниматься, и он будет ходить. Но на это время надо. Не лениться, а заниматься.
Niet lui zijn, oefenen.
I had come to the course ready to be convinced by the evidence for the method's claims to overcome blindness. And up till now I'd found most of their work absurd or simply confusing. But this now began to feel exploitative of vulnerable people.
Спина реагирует, ну-ка.
Niet veel eigenlijk.
So Tom,
Yeah.
lovely to meet you. Hi.
Nice to meet you too.
Nice to meet you. So you had a diagnostic session with Vladimir Bronikov, yes. What did he tell you during that?
Hij vertelde me dat je veel meer kon met je lichaam. En dat andere mensen nog niet weten. En dat de wetenschap ook nog niet zo ver is. Dat hij veel verder is in bepaalde dingen. En dat ik zeer binnenkort weer zou kunnen lopen voor mijn 25ste.
And you're 16?
He's 16.
16 now. And do you think you'll keep going with the courses and try level 2 and level 3? Yeah.
I think so, yes.
I think so.
He's got to practice first a lot, so he can do the number 1 very well. And then I think he goes on.
Yeah.
Yes.
So you say when you get angry, sometimes you can walk a little bit. What makes you angry then? When do you get angry?
Als mensen me onrecht houden.
When people are dishonest to him or to his family, he'll get angry.
Yes.
Более стали быть заряженными такими. Ну, во-первых, хочу
This is our
сказать,
final
что
class of the
если
course.
человек устает,
Wearing our masks, Judy, Margaret and I are allowed to use our inner screens for the first time.
потрогайте водичку, потрогайте водичку, потрогайте водичку. Дайте команду, чтобы она стала теплой.
We're asked to visualize a scene involving the sea and to use binoculars to see ships.
Заходим в водичку, маску, делаем всплеск.
You take off your mask and you do splash, not on the person.
It's a very standard visualization exercise as used in hypnosis and meditation sessions.
I see a great part of you had some success. Please share what
But it's still not working for Margaret.
in this experience.
When I first put on the mask, everything went black, and the blackness had quite a depth to it. But then it just came nearer and nearer, and just nothing, just black, dark.
Ну, я спрашиваю, у кого получилось изображение?
Ik wil vragen, diegene die dat wel heeft gekregen.
У вас получилось, да?
Ja? Aha.
Yes, I also could see everything you told us and smell it. And I found the binocular very amazing.
И было очень
Perfect.
As the course ends, people seem very happy. Of course, there's the possibility that the Bronikovs really believe that they can teach people to catch a football, play pool and duplicate drawings while blindfolded. But it seems to me like they're all talk. The amazing feats of eyeless vision are far off promises unlikely to ever be reached. Some level 1 students may have felt an energy, albeit through suggestion, and may have taken something of value from it. They were a lovely bunch, and I hope they do get something out of this. But I wondered what Judy had made of it all.
Personally, I don't think that I got anything from that. But there are a lot of very needy people out there who actually believe that they will achieve things that aren't achievable, because it is an absolute load of rubbish.
It was time for my showdown with Vyacheslav Bronikov. After 4 days of attending courses in his method, I was anxious to meet the legendary founder, Vyacheslav Bronikov, the superhuman figure revered by so many, who has reached the exalted heights of level 6 and even mentioned that he could levitate and that we could too. I began by asking him how he came up with the method.
Actually, my story. I had 12 teachers. I was absolutely loaded with knowledge, overloaded maybe even, but in a very potent way.
And you were how old at this time?
Started from 3 years old, but if taking it even more seriously, I came consciously into this body. That was my choice. I actually was aware about coming into this life before I actually was born. And when I was born, I had a lot of capacities already.
I want to talk about the ball of energy for a moment. When you do this, you feel a tingle in your hands, and your muscles kind of create a sensation of pulling away. So I can understand how you can imagine that might feel like a ball. I don't understand how you make the leap from an imaginary ball, a sensation in your fingers, to then placing that somewhere where other people can feel it and touch it and move it around.
I guess you didn't understand anything. When we wrap our hands between two parts of the brain, we create a connection. And this connection actually works and transforms. And everything else is secondary, individual. Everything works inside of the brain.
I would love to see the evidence. I really would love to see the evidence.
Let your scientists organize in England. They will let them organize the scientific commission.
Well, maybe
will come and it will work. And you will study from the very beginning till the very end.
Well, maybe my problem is that I haven't seen somebody who can really look at a box and see something that's inside it. Is it possible? I don't want to embarrass you, but is it possible for somebody at level 6 and somebody with your skill to be able to do the test? They were doing a test. They were looking at a box and seeing what was in it. Is it possible?
Unfortunately, you form a negative show, documentary. You create problems for yourselves. You don't have scientific approach, and you don't have basic knowledge of this technology. Do you understand what you're talking about? What do you want?
I'm trying to understand. I suppose maybe I'm being naive, and if I am, I apologize. But I feel I want to see a result.
In the first place, you create advertisements for your own. You show yourself as a not serious organization. Will I be playing circus here, studying boxes and things? This is not serious.
But you teach people to do this.
You want science? Let's do science.
You teach this at level 3. Yeah.
I am not playing anything with you.
Okay.
And I won't prove anything to you.
Okay. So there is something called Charles Bonnet syndrome, which is where blind people can hallucinate and think they are seeing things on the outside world, and it is very convincing for them. Now, do you think it would be unfair if blind people were being persuaded that that was actual real vision if it was just a hallucination?
We don't do healing here at all. We don't do healing. We deal with human development. And I want to put it straight.
If we think about self-improvement, then to me, becoming better people is about becoming kinder, I think is important. Do you think it's kind to tell a 16-year-old boy with cerebral palsy that he will walk and maybe develop superpowers?
First of all, we're not talking about healing, because we don't heal. Maybe you fix information in the wrong way. I speak of a system of development. And the system of development means that if you create a correct development of certain functions of the brain, you can improve things. We normally want to work with normal, healthy people who use their auto-training techniques for self-development. So I state again, ill people, we don't deal with ill people. We're not designed for ill people. This is for doctors only.
So the slogan, "World without blindness," is that misleading to blind people? Should it be something else?
It is working. And the results are there. Is it clear? And I see that you try to find weak spots and guess the weak spots. And I guess it's fine, because you're from England. Rostov-na-Donu, It's a city in Russia. There is a boy, and he was born without his eyeballs. Nobody told him he was blind, and he can see better than you. Think about it.
There's a boy in Russia who has no eyes and he can see perfectly. You're saying that that is true?
Definitely, I'm saying what I say.
Do you know his name? I'd love to. I want to find out about this man. Do you know his name?
Well, I don't have this information. Only just ask. It's in Rostov-na-Donu, is the city. And this is not the first case.
So I've spoken to a scientist who says that science doesn't take the Bronnikov results seriously, doesn't take the Bronnikov system seriously. Why is that if the results are real?
From one point of view, I am pleased that you in England still have no understanding of new technology software, scientific, psychological human development. And it's very nice that Russia, Ukraine and Soviet Union are on the first place of the telepathy studying.
I just want to ask one more thing, just going back to this box for a moment, because I want people at home to understand that if it is not appropriate for you to do this, which is fine, I want them to know why, so they understand.
You are not the scientists. Why do you do this? You are not scientists.
Okay.
You don't deal with proofs, and usually create anti-commercials. And this is your prevail. And you know where you belong. You do what you do. Let's do the anti-commercials. This will not work. And actually, it will not work. For us, anti-promotion is even better than real promotion. Make your documentary.
And thank you very much for your time. Thank you very much for having us here and allowing us to film with you. Thank you for talking to us.
Next time we will participate in your circus. Don't worry.
To me, it's important whether the Bronnikov's promises are backed up by real abilities. To others, the hope of extraordinary development may be enough, and of course even false hope can be invaluable. The balance lies in ensuring that the key figures spreading and profiting from the hope are held accountable, so that people searching can make the best informed life decisions for themselves.
An ordinary family with an extraordinary condition tomorrow night on 4. Our Daughter the Mermaid is at 10 o'clock. Next here tonight, though, the virus is taking over in our film Resident Evil.